Hey there, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day, everyone. You are with me, Irwan, and we are on behaviorism in education. First and foremost, thank you everyone for joining us in this session. Today, we'll be exploring among the most fundamental and earliest psychological theories in education, and that is behaviorism. So, among the things that we'll cover in this lecture today are well, first and foremost, lesson outcomes. We hope that this lecture can help you to understand the basic principles of behaviorism as a learning theory, and also to help you, educators, to explore practical ways to apply behaviorism in your classrooms. Okay, so our lecture will cover the history, some practical concepts, and classroom applications of behaviorism in education. All right. So first and foremost, to those of you who are new to behaviorism, you ought to know that behaviorism is among the oldest and earliest psychological theories that were discovered and well applied and practiced in academia. It emerged in the early 20th century, and among the key figures are John Watson, who is considered as the father of behaviorism, who advocated studying observable behavior instead of internal thoughts. And then we have Ivan Pavlov, known for his work on classical conditioning with dogs, and also B.F. Skinner, who expanded the theory with his own rendition of operant conditioning. So we are going to look at these fundamental terms as we go on in the lecture, and hopefully they can help you enhance your knowledge and understanding of what behaviorism is all about. Moving on, okay, some main ideas on behaviorism. First and foremost, as the name suggests, behaviorism is based on behaviors, right? Based on the idea that all behaviors are acquired through conditioning, meaning to say, whatever habits you have, whatever tendencies you have, whatever skills you possess, those are actually acquired through conditioning. And by conditioning, we mean something which happens through your interaction with the environment or an external stimuli, right? So a skill that you know, something that you're very good at doing physically, um, or whatever tendencies, hobbies, and things like that you do physically, those are not something which come internally, but rather are fully influenced or caused by a conditioning process which happens via whatever that you do, the people you meet, the things you saw, interactions that happen in the environment or external stimuli. And behaviorism or behaviorists believe that only observable behaviors should be studied, as internal things like cognition, emotions, and mood are far too subjective. Okay, and strict behaviorists believe that any person, regardless of genetic background, personality traits, and internal thoughts, right, can be trained to perform any task within the limits of their physical capabilities. It only requires the right conditioning. So, whoever you are, no matter what your skin color, your beliefs, your intellectual capacity, and things like that, you can be trained to become whoever you want to be. If you are trained to become a carpenter as a result of the teaching or the training you receive, you will be a carpenter. If you are trained to become a musician, that is because the training you receive, and therefore you become good at playing music, and that makes you a musician. So it's not about internal talents, it's not about what you like or dislike, it's not about what you believe or disbelieve. It's entirely is a result of external stimuli, conditioning. So if you receive the training and it is within your physical capabilities, you can achieve whatever that is intended for you to achieve. Okay, so let's have a look at some key concepts when it comes to behaviorism. As you can see from the diagram here, we have some features. So from the picture, we have the first set of picture here on the top left. learning through association. We will see even deeper what it means by that. And then rewards and punishments and aversion therapy. So key concept number one, a fundamental concept when it comes to behaviorism is the presence of stimulus and the response, which is the result of um, uh, of the interaction with the stimulus. All right. So in behaviorism, a stimulus is anything in the environment that triggers a reaction, while a response is the reaction to the stimulus. So, for example, imagine the setting is a school, right? When the children, no matter whatever they are doing, whatever they are thinking, whenever they hear the bell ringing, right? Whenever they hear the bell ringing, we can expect that they would automatically pack up their books. So now, packing up their books is the response to the trigger or to the stimulus, which comes in the form of the sound of the bell ringing. So, stimulus, response, whatever they like. Or another example, for example, maybe uh, you felt pain on your hand uh, because there's a cut on it, right? Or maybe you're at the kitchen and you're using a knife. Accidentally, that knife caused you to bleed, right? You made accidentally you caused a cut on your finger. So automatically, as a reflex, you pull your hand away from the knife, and that is the response. Now, this might be more of an automatic knee-jerk reaction, but likewise in behaviorism, whatever response that you create, either automatically or decisively as a result of a stimulus, is the connection that behaviorism try to establish. Okay, so probably you can think of your other examples from your surroundings. Next, in relation to stimulus and response is a classical conditioning, a concept within behaviorism, which is popularized by Pavlov from his experiment with dogs. So what did he do? Classical conditioning is a type of unconscious or automatic learning. Now we saw this now, stimulus and response. Now we see unconscious or automatic learning as a result of association. The association between a stimulus and a response which is made automatic. So in this type of learning, a neutral stimulus becomes associated with a meaningful stimulus to produce a similar response. In short, a neutral stimulus is something that does not trigger any response. But when it is paired with a meaningful stimulus, that neutral stimulus can also cause an automatic response, right? So we'll see what happened in Pavlov's experiment with dogs here. When he rings a bell, right, the bell, for a dog, the sound of the bell ringing is a neutral thing. It doesn't cause him to respond. Okay? Whereas the act of presenting food to a dog is a meaningful one because it causes the dog to salivate, right? So it gets excited when the dog sees food. So the ringing of the bell is a neutral stimulus, while presenting food is a meaningful stimulus. Now, over time, when food is presented accompanied with the ringing of a bell, this causes the dog to salivate even when food is not there and the only thing he hears is the ringing of a bell. Okay, so let's have a look at the figure here, or at the diagram here. Before conditioning, the dog sees food, so it's unconditioned, automatically it salivates. Whereas when a neutral stimulus is presented in the form of a bell or a whistle, right, no response, it's neutral. And when the dog is conditioned to hear the ringing of the bell or the sound of the whistle accompanied with the sight of the food, it becomes conditioned to salivate even when food is not presented anymore. Right? Okay, so it becomes automatic even when food is not there. So this is one example of classical conditioning, where we learn through association even when the initial stimulus is not there and a new stimulus is presented, but because it is conditioned to cause that response, we can expect to see the response resulted or acted by the learner, and in this case the dog is the learner. Key concept number 3 is operant conditioning, which is popularized by B.F. Skinner. Right, so under operant conditioning, we learn through consequences. Consequences. It involves understanding how actions lead to specific outcomes, which either encourage or discourage a behavior. And we normally talk about reinforcements and punishments, where reinforcements strengthen behavior while punishments reduce behavior. So, if in classical conditioning, learners learn through association, in operant conditioning, learners through consequences that they can expect to happen as a result of their response towards a reinforcement or a punishment. So we can see the connection here between a stimulus and response, right? Okay. So a reinforcement is a consequence that increases the likelihood of a behavior happening again. So just now we saw that it could be in the form of a praise, in the form of a reward. Let's say a student is given a candy whenever he answers a question correct. So this reinforcement is hoped to motivate the learner to continue answering questions correctly because he is motivated to get more candies. All right. While a negative reinforcement is something is done by removing something unpleasant when the desired behavior occurs. For example, um, a student does not like um, well homework. All right. A student does not like homework. All right. So uh, if a student does not want to be given any homework, then he must say clean the room, clean the class, right? So taking away homework is the consequence of the student agreeing to clean the class, right? So this is a form of a negative reinforcement. uh, it looks like a gift, a reward for the student, but it is in the form of the removal of something instead of the act of giving something or the addition of something. Okay, and then here we have punishment, using consequences to reduce undesirable behavior. So punishments, just like um, what we call it, reinforcements, come in two forms. They are positive and negative punishments. For positive punishments, we add something unpleasant like extra chores. If you fail to clean your room, you'll get more house chores. And then negative punishment is taking away something which is pleasant. If you fail to clean your room, I won't be I won't be serving cakes for dinner, something like that, right? So they have this fear that if they don't act accordingly, the consequences is they'll be getting a punishment, and that punishment is either in the form of something that they don't like, as in they get something that they don't like, or something that they like is taken away. All right. Okay, so some classroom applications. But before we get to this part, which is in the second video, why don't you all try to reflect on the theories or on the key concepts that we've discussed before and see how they are related to your own classroom and to your own learning environments. We'll meet again in the second video, and we will discuss classroom applications. Bye.